Hey, what's up everybody? This is Kalen from White Glove Models and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to get started on the Revell 1/72nd scale LKW 5T Mill GL 4x4 truck. So this build is actually going to be my introduction to the world of armor in this hobby. So I've never actually built a tank or anything like that, and I haven't done a whole lot of dioramas in the past. I've done a few with cars and things like that, but never a military diorama, and I'm very excited to get into that genre. So this will be the introduction to that. So let's go ahead and head over to the bench and get started. Well, this is where I am at. So far I have the differentials done, and I don't know, I mean, that is how tiny these are. And I'll tell you what, that was a pain in the butt to do. There's that one, and then here's this one. I almost died doing this one. Not really, but yeah, it was crazy. But I tell you, these are very, very tiny pieces, and really makes me not want to do a 1/72nd scale vehicle for a very long time after doing this one. But these springs, the funny part is I lost one of these springs and it went pinging off. I didn't know where it went. Spent about 45 minutes digging around the office floor trying to find it. And then I went to go move one of my sprues to cut off another piece, and guess what? It was camouflaged underneath this sprue here. So that was, I'm glad that I found it. Very glad, because I didn't want to have to try to make another piece just for one little spring that wouldn't match the rest of them. So there they are, and we're going to go ahead and move along here, and I'm going to cut out some of these tires. So here we've got our 10 sections of the tires and wheels, and I will go ahead and glue these together. I'll be using the Tamiya Extra Thin Quick Setting Cement. All right, so as you guys can see, I've been pretty busy. This took the better part of a day, and we're not even close to finished yet. Putting it together, there's a lot, and by a lot, I mean a lot of little tiny pieces, and I still have probably the smallest ones to put on still. Here's a couple of those little fiddly things. They don't look so small, maybe, but I mean, let's show you here on my finger, if I can get it out of here. So I mean, that's it on my finger, and I mean, this isn't even the smallest thing. I mean, there are tiny parts. Let's look at this sprue here. So do you see that piece? Yeah. That's actually one of the next pieces that I have to put in. So I wanted to kind of stop this here and show you guys kind of what I've been doing, and maybe describe some of my process as I'm putting a build like this together. So this is the 1/72 scale, and it is small. I kind of expected that going into it. I would like to build a larger version of this though, because it is a really cool vehicle. So right now I have everything together so that you guys can kind of see where I'm at, but a lot of this stuff is just taped together. I haven't glued it yet, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this apart and just kind of show you the way that I am going about doing certain things. So just because everything is so small, you can do this on larger kits too. I did glue this section in. I haven't glued the rear end because I don't know if I want to leave it intact, or or take it off because I haven't decided if I'm going to use the cover yet or not. Part of the reasoning for that is if you want to use the cover, you have to cut all the railings off and then put it down, and then you're never going to see the inside of the truck bed. And so I was thinking, well, what would be cool is if I do decide to use the cover, what I might do is just leave this back portion open. But I actually kind of like it this way with the railings on it. So I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So this piece is not going to get glued down just yet. And then we have the truck bed. This thing, I actually had to put it down and walk away from it for a while. And I'll explain why. There's a total, you have the flat portion of the bed here, and then you have your 4 pieces that make up the sides. Trying to get these to stay together and stay lined up was a pain in the neck. And, I'd been working on this for probably about 8 straight hours. So I put it down, took a little break, went to the grocery store, and then came back. And finally, just, with the help of Tamiya tape and some patience, managed to get it somewhat together. And so far, I've just tack glued the corners in. And I'll finish gluing this up, and this will just be one solid piece. And again, I haven't decided if I'm going to cut the rails off or not. It actually kind of looks cool with the rails on and then the little canopy here. So I don't know. This is just one of those decisions I will make down the road, I guess. Then we have the cab, which is almost complete. I've left a few things off, like the roof, so that I can paint inside. I also haven't glued down the front of the cab, just because I figured it'll be easier to paint all that in there with the front off, and then I can always just glue the front of the cab down and then put the roof on. And other than that, it looks really cool so far, and I'm actually pretty impressed with how well this has gone together, aside from there being itty bitty teeny weeny parts. The part that was broken, I can't really show you, but it was the shaft for the steering wheel, and that was fun because that thing was tiny. It was about the size of a 0.7 pencil lead, maybe even smaller. In fact, I think it was smaller than that. It might have been like a 0.5 pencil lead. And so I had to try to glue that back together and then get the steering wheel to stay on there as well. And thankfully, I didn't break it off while I was trying to put all this together. The only thing I did manage to tweak a little bit was it looks like a fueling cap and the fueling nozzle. When I was putting all of this stuff, all the sidewalls and all that together, my finger slipped and I ended up kind of bending it back, but I managed to fix that. So overall, lots of fun little tiny bits to play with. So I'm gonna say with this kit, I would not buy this and build it unless you are an experienced builder, just because of how fiddly and how small all of these parts are. It's, I knew they were going to be small when I opened it up and first was going to build it, but oh my gosh, some of the detail that they want you to put together. I'll see if I can. The wheels are not glued in yet, so I'm going to go ahead and pull these off so that you can get a better look at the chassis here. Because I'll tell you what, this chassis was fun. And that little tiny piece right there, you had to add that. Sorry, my phone's notifying me of things. every single one of these little tiny pieces you had to add. So it was just crazy, and it's so fiddly. And that the hardest thing, I think, was trying to get these very thin struts and drive lines into place and to get them to line up. Everything was, oh my goodness. It must have taken me hours just to get to this point. And then came the cab, which wasn't as bad, but I just wanted to make sure that everything fit good. And the fit on this kit is superb. It is, a typical Revell kit. But the thing that scares me is I have a couple of I think they're 172nd helicopters. And I know that they are small too, but I'm not sure if they have as many parts as this. This had a lot of parts, and most of them, as you could see, like even this is pretty much one of the last sprues that I think I have. But you had all these itsy bitsy parts there, and then as you can see here, you've got some more little, it looks like handrails there, and I have no idea what that what that little dinky thing is, but I can already tell that's going to be so much fun to put in. And then it looks like we just have some fenders and a couple of things like that. Yeah, that is the final sprue. There was one piece that you will not be using on this kit, and so this will be the front bumper, but I'm trying to think of what the name of these are. They were named after that actress that was killed when she rear-ended a truck. Okay, time out. So let's just take a minute here and discuss the Mansfield bar, as it was called here in the United States after June 29th of 1967. We'll get into that in a minute. But it is also referred to as the DOT bar, which kind of makes sense. Also a rear impact guard makes a lot of sense too. And they also call it the rear underride guard. So basically it's what is put there to help protect other drivers in case they rear end the vehicle. So the reason why we here in the United States refer to it as a Mansfield bar is in 1967, it was on June 29th of 1967, Jane Mansfield, who was a beautiful, beautiful actress. She was the next Marilyn Monroe. And in the 50s and 60s, she was very popular and a very well-known name. Well, on June 29th of 1967, Mansfield, along with her lawyer and her driver and her 3 young children, one of which included Mariska Hargitay. I don't know how you say her name, but she is also very well known as the actress that plays Olivia Benson on Law and Order. So a lot of you might know that name, and that is one of Jane Mansfield's daughters, and she was in the vehicle when the vehicle crashed and rear-ended that semi-trailer, killing all 3 adults in the vehicle. Thankfully, all the children, so the 3 children that were in the vehicle survived, including Mariska. Is that how you say her name? I don't know. But anyway, she still has a scar from the accident. But really interesting story. So I wasn't really sure because I've heard it called different things, and I have heard it referred to as the Mansfield bar. So anyways, I might be still trying to fit this Mansfield bar onto my little military truck. I don't know. I'm going to see if there's room for it when I'm done with everything. I don't really know why they didn't include it in the instructions. But anyways, back to whatever we were watching before. Bye. I think it was back in the 50s or 60s, but it's named after her, and I don't remember what they're called. But that's basically what that is. And because this is a military or a UN truck, it's not required. So they don't have you putting it on and I didn't really see a place for it to mount on the bed right here, so I don't know. But in the destruction booklet, it said to not put it in. So overall, the instructions on this so far have been very easy and understandable. So it's basically just pictures. So it's, for guys like me, it's perfect. As you know us, we don't like to read instructions. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to probably finish this up either tonight or tomorrow. But I'm kind of on the fence about how I'm going to paint it. I was thinking maybe just trying to hand brush the whole thing, which, is what I used to do back in the day. But I really should get some more practice in with the airbrush. So we will see. So that is my update for now, and I'll see you in a few minutes. So here we have everything ready to get primed up and painted. I do have a few spots I need to maybe hit with the sander again. Since this is so small, sanding this is going to be a lot of fun. I couldn't really get a sander into some of these areas, like this one here too. We've got some glue. You can see the glue where my fingers were pressing it together. And then this area, so I'll probably hit that again with the sander, try to clean it up a bit. And then once the surface primer is on there, everything should look really good. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot more to this one other than painting it, just because it is so small, and I've got other projects that I'd like to get moving on. So this one will basically be mostly out of the box, and I was really pleased with how everything has gone together, especially being a small kit, and the detail in this little 1/72 kit is just phenomenal. Really, really happy with it, and a lot of great detail in there on the frame. So give you guys another quick look here at the top of the cab there, and just really nice. I decided to go with the hatch closed, and you could have it open and then be able to see inside the cab a little better. But I think with the windows on there for what you've got, it's going to look pretty good. And then we have the front of the cab right here, and I have this off just because I want to be able to paint inside here really well. And I did, when I was putting this back together, I knocked that steering wheel off again, but I ended up re-gluing it back together. And overall, everything's looking really good. So I will go ahead and get some primer on this, and that should be the end of this video. And then we will do part 2, which will be all the painting. So hope you guys have enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in a minute. right, guys, I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you so much for joining me on this LKW 4x4 military thingy, truck, whatever. It has been a learning experience, and I've learned a few things, especially when it came to that paint, or the primer, shall I say. But anyways, I'm going to let you guys get on your way. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like this video, hit that like button. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out on any new content. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.